And also, it's just not empowering to like do your stuff for your kids still, right? At that age, dress them and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we went to a restaurant in La Jolla, really good breakfast spot. And I remember telling her, I was like, you know what? Since I'm in your life, I'm not his dad, but I'm going to take him under my wing. You have to allow me to discipline him. And she agreed to that, you know. And I said, hey, buddy, you're going to cut all your own food today. I'm going to show you how to cut your food, right? And you're going to finish your food, because I remember when I was a kid, my parents would not, if you didn't want to finish your food, well, good luck. Put it in the fridge and you got to come back and eat that later. We're not making you anything else. You know,
Yeah.
You eat what's in front of you. And sometimes you hated that as a kid, but you look back on it, it was a great lesson, right? So I wanted to instill that in him. And I said, you know, you're going to learn how to cut your food. I'm going to show you a few times, right? Because he knew. He was just being a little craphead because his mom was empowering him.
Yeah, it's the easier route. Let my mom take care of it.
Yeah. So showed him how to cut his food, right? And then made him eat all his food. It happened one or two times, right? And then same thing with tying his shoes. I'll never forget, we were at a gym in Claremont, right? And there's a reason why I'm bringing them both up, right? He didn't know how to tie his shoes. She was tying them all the time. And I was like, you can't be doing that either. He needs to learn how to tie his shoes. He's 6, almost 7 now, you know? Showed him how to do it both ways, the normal way and then the bunny loop way. I was like, you can choose whatever way you want. Nobody does the bunny loop way, but everybody does this way, you know? But I'll never forget, and this is what I knew when parents, what they feel as a kid. Obviously not my kid, but I took an interest in him, right? Came up to me like a week later after I'd shown him, and we sat there for like 30 minutes showing him and just practicing, right? He's like, Gabe, I want to show you. I can tie my own shoes. I was like, all right, show me, buddy. He showed me, and he was so proud to show me. And that's when I knew, like, how parents feel. Even though he wasn't my kid and I wasn't around him every day, you get that understanding of how it is to empower your kids, right? How you feel when they accomplish something that, like, people say you can only get if you have kids, right? Like, you don't know what it's like to have kids, you know. Now I do. Not on and I raised them, you know, pretty well for the most part, the time that I was in his life. But I think back on that as another lesson that will guide me in my future too, with how I interacted with kids of women that I dated that may have had a kid, you know, and how much of an impact you can make on their life, even for little small things like that. And talking about the friends, being a friend, I wasn't his friend. You know, like I teased him, you know, we had some fun. I taught him how to
played around, hung
skateboard
out.
And stuff, but I demanded respect. Not like an asshole, because there's a difference between being an asshole and like actually being, like you said, stoic, demanding respect. And he wants to give respect because he wants to impress me, you know, whatever it may be, right? But that whole thing about being friends with your kid, it's kind of like a plague nowadays.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot of people have kids and don't understand the impact you can have on them, like that impact I had for a positive thing, right? The negative side of it too.
Yeah.
You're sitting there on your iPad, you give your kid an iPad, he's sitting there, he's struggling with homework, or she, you know, and you're out there sipping a martini and going out to fucking happy hours with your friends instead of spending time home and educating your kid. Like, my mom stayed home when we were at kids and didn't work. She worked part-time a little bit later and then went back to work once we were kind of up and ready, like around second grade. We didn't really need much anymore. And, you know, you have to take that interest in your kids. You can't be selfish. My aunt always says, you know, if you want to have kids, it's the most unselfish thing you have to do. You know, you can't be any selfish. And if you feel like you can't do it, then you probably shouldn't. And I take that to heart all the time because I'm selfish at times, you know. I think I'd be a great dad, but there's also things where I'm like, oh, I don't know, you know. And I know also if sometimes when you're put in that situation, you know, because some of my friends, and I want to go off on this tangent for a second, is like some of my friends that you didn't think would be good fathers, they stepped up to the plate. Not all of them.
Whipped them into shape.
It whipped them into shape. Not all of them, you know, but a lot of them, you're like, wow, dude, you're a great dad, and you were just like the stoner guy I used to hang out with and skateboard, and you're always getting into trouble. But sometimes that helps them ground them, you know. Not that a kid should necessitate that, but it does help both people, right?